Hey, what's up? I hope that you are well. Today, I wanted to share with you why I'm really excited about the update to my iPhone to iOS 12. A few months ago, I started banging on about this topic of the attention economy and how the big tech companies are incentivized to keep us hooked to our devices as long as possible, and some of the social problems that this has created for people in general, as well as for children on iPads and devices of that nature, is potentially, I think, a problem with alignment where what's best for people is not necessarily aligned with what's best for the shareholders of big businesses that control these devices, of which everybody has one. And I think one of the people that's done some amazing work in this space is a guy called Tristan Harris, and I will link to his work in the show notes of this vlog. But essentially, he was one of the head developers at Google, and he realized quite quickly just how nasty it is, a business trying to see what sneaky tricks you can use to keep people staring at their devices for as long as possible. For any of you that know anything about this stuff, you'll know that, for example, if you post a photograph and you get 10 likes, Facebook doesn't send you those likes all at the same time, because it realizes that if it spreads those out over every couple of hours, every time you go on to see who's liked a photo, you inherently spend more time on Facebook looking at other people's photos, and you get stuck in there. And that's good for Facebook because they can sell your attention to advertisers, and the more attention and the more eyes they have for a longer period of time on their platform, the more advertising space they have to sell. So I've had this ongoing frustration about that. But iOS 12 has this amazing ability to set up a specific structure of time and specific apps that you want to use to be able to be on your phone, and other things that can be turned off on your phone when you no longer want to be able to access them anymore. And this is a massive breakthrough, I think, in terms of an actual company like Apple saying, we understand the problem, we're aligning better with our users in order to be able to give them the tools to create an experience that aligns with your life, not one that is controlled by this or every social environment where everyone's there sat on their phones. You have the ability to be able to turn those things off using iOS 12. And I want to quickly show you, if you have an iPhone, why you should upgrade to iOS 12 and how to be able to set up a structure and a schedule on your phone so that you can do stuff that you want to do, whether it's focus work, time with your family, or just no screen time in the evenings until the mornings. I want to show you. So once you've upgraded your iOS to iOS 12, you will now have something that says screen time in your settings. When you click on that, it gives you a breakdown of exactly how much time you've spent on your phone per day. And I think it also goes and shows you what you've done in the last 7 days. Because it's only been 2 days since the upgrade, I've only got 2 days worth of information here. But it gives you a breakdown of exactly how much time you've spent on social networks, etc. You then have the opportunity to set app limits. You can choose, I've also put a passcode on, and I'll show you why later that's important. You can decide to put a limit on the amount of time that you want to spend on a specific category of things. So let's say, for example, social networking, you only want to spend a certain amount of time. You can edit what's in social networking, but you can set a specific amount of time that you want per day. Once you've accumulated that time, the phone sends you a notification that says you've reached your screen time for education or for news or for social media for the day. And that's a really nice way to be able to control the time you spend on your device. The next thing is a thing called downtime. And downtime basically closes off all of your apps on your phone except for ones that are called always allowed. So let me explain how I'm using this. I've set my downtime to be from 8:30 in the evening until, this is setting correctly, but I wanted to have it set until around 7 in the following morning. So what that means is that 8:30 at night, my phone, I no longer get messages from Facebook, Instagram, anything except for apps that I've allowed. So nothing comes through on my phone in this time. So I've set it up this way, and I'm going to show you now what it looks like. For the purposes of this, I'm just going to change my downtimes so that I can show you exactly what happens when you're in a situation which is called downtime, which is your time that you don't want to be on your device. And let's say, for example, it starts, the time now is 5 p.m. So let's say, for example, it started at 4 and it ended the following morning at 7. Okay. So technically with those settings now, my phone will be in downtime. That means none of my apps are operational. I've set up something called Always Allowed, and I've added some apps that I want to be able to use in this time. So for example, some evenings I meditate or I read, so I use Kindle and I use my meditation app and my journaling app and my task manager, because I set up my tasks in the evening, and that's not something that I find distracts me. So everything else on my phone will be switched off except for these ones, which are called Always Allowed. Now, because I've set up my downtime to be now, it's normally set up for 8 p.m. until 7 in the morning, but I've just changed it to show you. I'll show you what your home screen now looks like because it's potentially downtime. So if you have a look at this, all the apps on my home screen are now suddenly grayed out and you're not able to access any of these apps. If you choose to go onto something, let's say I wanted to go onto Blinkist to read something, it says you've reached your time limit and it's letting you know what you've done. If you say ignore limit, remind me in 15 minutes, or ignore the limit for today. So you can say, cool, I want to go and read, and it will remind you again in 15 minutes time because it knows that you're in a downtime situation. So all of the applications that are on here are now not available. They're not going to ping. You're not going to get Facebook notifications. But if you still needed to, like I have it set up here, you can go into your task manager and you can see stuff that you need to in your tasks. So I hope you are as excited about this stuff as I am, because I think it's a massive step in the right direction, and I really hope that Android follows suit pretty soon, because having the ability to be able to do that. In the past, I tried to turn off my WhatsApp, but it didn't come through it sometimes, and the do not disturb thing sort of worked well, but then my alarm clock wouldn't work, and certain things just didn't work well for me. I think that they've done an amazing job at being able to give power back to the user to be able to control their experience on something that every single one of us has, and we can now just be a little bit more conscious of the time that we spend using this, and we can spend more time doing cool stuff that we want to do, not sucked into our phones. I hope you dig it. If you want to ask me any questions, please drop me a comment in this, and you can check out more of my content on youtube.com/Gareth Pickering. Cheers.